The quantum veil, how the programming model solves the ultimate physics puzzle. For over a century, secular physics has been haunted by a ghost in the machine. As scientists built better microscopes and particle accelerators, they expected to find the solid, dependable gears of a purely physical, self-existing universe. Instead, at the subatomic level, the physical world completely dissolved. Through phenomena like the double-slit experiment and quantum entanglement, physicists discovered a realm that actively defies naturalistic logic. Yet, when we apply the framework of the programming model of creation, these impenetrable mysteries suddenly become beautifully simple. They are the signature of the great programmer, written directly into the fabric of reality. The double-slit experiment, rendering on demand. The double-slit experiment is arguably the most famous and bewildering experiment in all of physics. When scientists fire particles like electrons or photons through a barrier with two slits, the particles behave like a wave of probabilities, existing in multiple places at once and creating a wave pattern on the wall behind the slits. However, the moment scientists place a detector at the slits to observe which path the particle takes, the wave instantly collapses. The particle stops acting like a wave of probabilities and acts like a solid, fixed bullet. In the secular worldview, this makes no sense. How does the physical matter know it is being watched? Under the programming model, the answer is straightforward. The universe operates on an efficiency code akin to modern video game rendering. In a sophisticated virtual reality simulation, the computer does not render the high-resolution texture of a tree behind you until your avatar turns around to look at it. Until it is observed, the tree exists simply as mathematical probabilities in the rules side of the code. The moment you look, the system instantly casts it to the results side your screen. The double-slit experiment is humanity discovering the rendering engine of reality. The particle is not a self-existing physical object. It is a line of code. Until the simulation requires it to be fixed for an observer, it remains a mathematical probability in the formless and void. The act of measuring it forces the great programmer system to render it into the physical interface. The matter doesn't know it is being watched. The system knows it is being watched. The second puzzle is quantum entanglement. To understand why this completely breaks classical physics, imagine a carpenter who rolls back some carpet to see how a floor was built. He spots two screws a foot apart holding the subfloor down. Curious, he decides to test one by turning it with his screwdriver, only to see that the second screw, 1 foot away, instantly turns exactly the same way, perfectly matching the first. Assuming there must be a hidden physical mechanism connecting them, the carpenter rips up the subfloor expecting to find a gear, a chain, or a magnetic link. Instead, he finds absolutely nothing. Just empty space between the joists. This is exactly what physicists have discovered at the subatomic level. You can take two entangled particles, separate them by billions of light years, and the moment you change the spin of one, the other changes instantly. This completely baffled Albert Einstein, who famously mocked the phenomenon as spooky action at a distance. Secular scientists, who believe the universe is a closed system limited by the speed of light, are at a total loss. How can a physical signal travel faster than light through empty space? The programming model solves this instantly. The carpenter is looking for a hardware link to explain a software command. In a codebase, distance is an artificial overlay. It does not exist in the fundamental memory of the system. Imagine a programmer writes a software code where screw B is permanently linked to screw A. On the computer screen, the programmer renders them 1 foot apart to create the illusion of physical space. But in the computer's RAM, in the mind of the machine, they share the exact same memory address. When you turn screw A, screw B turns instantly because no signal has to travel across the screen. God, the great programmer, sustains the entirety of the universe in his infinite mind. The physical distance between two galaxies is just a rendered illusion. In his mind, all variables are intimately connected, requiring zero time to communicate. The divine checkmate. Why put the puzzle here? This brings us to the most profound question. Why would the great programmer place such mind-bending, non-physical mechanics at the absolute foundational level of our reality? Why not just make it solid all the way down? Because it is the ultimate divine checkmate against human pride. During the Enlightenment, men like Isaac Newton mapped the macro laws of gravity and motion. This led subsequent generations of secular, uniformitarian thinkers to grow arrogant. They concluded, the universe is a giant clockwork machine. We don't need a creator. The machine runs itself. They worshipped the physical creation and discarded the creator. But God knew that eventually man's technology would allow him to pull up the subfloor. He knew the materialist would dig down, desperately trying to find the eternal, solid God particle that proves the universe is a self-sustaining physical machine. So God placed a firewall at the bottom. When the proud materialist finally zoomed in to the deepest subatomic level, God made the solid gears vanish. He replaced them with probabilities, observer-dependent rendering, and instant, non-local data sharing. God designed the quantum level to definitively prove that matter is not the baseline of reality. Information is. Conclusion. The secular physicist looks at the double-slit experiment and quantum entanglement and sees a chaotic paradox because they are trying to explain a software program using only the rules of hardware. The great programmer placed this puzzle precisely where he did to force a crisis of faith. The quantum realm screams that the universe is not a closed, self-existing system. It is a generated interface. It forces the honest observer to stop looking down into the dirt for the answers to life and to finally look up toward the mind that is actively upholding all things by the word of his power.